storm inside the time portal was violent and loud. It sounded like a million thunders crashing at the same time. Gohan walked through the grey swirling clouds with his head down and his fists clenched tight. He did not care about the lightning striking around him. He did not care about the pressure of time pushing against his skin. His mind was focused on one thing only. He was thinking about the image he saw in the crystal ball. He saw the head of his future self held in the hand of a monster. He felt a cold rage in his stomach that was heavier than any gravity training. Behind him walked Goku and Vegeta and Jiren. They were silent. They knew that this mission was different. This was personal. This was a grave that they were visiting. They stepped out of the portal and their boots landed in a puddle of muddy water. It was raining. The rain was cold and black. It smelled like oil and ash. Gohan looked up. The sky was dark grey. There was no sun, just heavy clouds that looked like a bruised ceiling. He looked around at the city. It was West City, but it was destroyed. The tall buildings were broken in half like snapped twigs. The windows were all shattered. Rebar and concrete hung from the skeletons of skyscrapers. The streets were filled with rubble and rusted cars. There was no sound of traffic. There was no sound of people talking. There was only the sound of the rain hitting the metal and the stone. It was a dead world. Vegeta walked forward and kicked a piece of a broken robot. He looked at the ruins of Capsule Corp. The dome was cracked open. The yellow paint was peeling off. Vegeta's face was hard like stone, but his eyes were shaking just a little bit. He was looking at the home where his son Trunks grew up. He was imagining Trunks running through these ruins alone. He was imagining Bulma hiding in the basement, trying to build a time machine with scraps. It made Vegeta angry. It made him want to scream. But he stayed quiet. He knew that screaming would not fix this. Only fighting would fix this. Goku wiped the rain from his face. He looked very sad. He said, "This place feels so empty. I can't sense any strong energies. I can't sense Piccolo or Krillin or Tien. They are all gone, aren't they?" Gohan nodded slowly. He said, "Yes, Dad. In this timeline, you died of a heart virus before the fighting started. Then the androids came. They killed everyone. Uncle Piccolo, Uncle Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, Kyaotsu, even Vegeta. The only one who survived was me, and I trained Trunks." Gohan walked toward the center of the city. He closed his eyes and expanded his senses. He was looking for the enemy. He pushed his mind past the sound of the rain. He pushed past the interference of the lightning. He felt it. He felt a cold and metallic energy. It was mixed with the dark void energy they had felt on Namek. It was coming from the downtown area. And next to that dark energy, he felt a small and flickering light. It was a weak energy. It was a super saiyan energy, but it was fading. Gohan opened his eyes. He said, "I sense Trunks. He is in trouble. His energy is dropping fast." Vegeta did not wait for another word. He exploded into his blue aura. The rain around him vaporized instantly into steam. He flew toward the energy signal. He broke the sound barrier. The windows that were still intact shattered from the sonic boom. Gohan and Goku and Jiren flew after him. They flew over the ruined city. They saw the devastation up close. They saw craters where parks used to be. They saw bridges collapsed into the river. They arrived at the city square. What they saw made Gohan's blood boil. In the middle of the square, there was a pile of debris. On top of the debris stood 3 figures. 2 of them were teenagers. One was a boy with black hair and a scarf. That was Android 17. The other was a girl with blonde hair and a denim jacket. That was Android 18. They were laughing. They looked cruel, but they also looked different. Their eyes were glowing with a purple light. Black veins were crawling up their necks. They were corrupted by the void. Standing behind them was the third figure. He was huge. He was twice the size of the others. He wore green armor with a red ribbon army logo on his chest. He had a red mohawk. He was Android 16, but he was not the gentle robot that Gohan remembered from his own timeline. This Android 16 was a nightmare. His green armor was rusted and covered in black spikes. His face was torn open, revealing the metal skull underneath. His eyes were two red lasers, and in his big hand, he was holding a boy by the neck. The boy had lavender hair. He wore a capsule corp jacket that was torn and bloody. He had a sword strapped to his back, but the sword was broken in half. It was young Trunks. He was about 14 years old. He was beaten badly. His eye was swollen shut. He was trying to kick Android 16, but he was too weak. Android 16 spoke. His voice was deep and robotic, but it had a glitchy echo. He said the variable has been isolated. The time traveler must be terminated. History must be sealed. He squeezed Trunks' neck. Trunks gasped for air. He kicked his legs. Vegeta screamed. He shouted, "Get your hands off my son!" Vegeta flew down from the sky like a meteor. He kicked Android 16 in the face with both feet. The impact was massive. It created a crater in the ground. Android 16 dropped Trunks. He flew backward and crashed through a building. The building collapsed on top of him. Trunks fell to the ground coughing. He held his throat. He looked up with blurry vision. He saw a man standing in front of him. The man had spiky hair and wore blue battle armor. Trunks whispered, "Father," but that's impossible. Father is dead. Vegeta did not look back at Trunks yet. He kept his eyes on the androids. He stood in a protective stance. He said, "Rest, boy. The grown-ups are here now." Android 17 and Android 18 stopped laughing. They floated up into the air. They looked at Vegeta, and then they looked at Goku and Gohan and Jiren descending from the clouds. Android 17 tilted his head. He said, "Look, sister, it's Goku. But Goku is dead. Our data says he died years ago. This must be a ghost." Android 18 smirked. She brushed her hair back. She said, "Ghosts are fun to kill. They can't die twice, right? Let's find out." Goku landed next to Vegeta. He looked at 17. In his timeline, 17 was a park ranger. He was a good guy who protected animals. Seeing this evil version made Goku sad. He said, "Hey, 17, I know you're in there somewhere. This isn't you. You don't want to hurt people." Android 17 laughed. It was a cold, mechanical laugh. He said, "I am not 17. I'm the Void. The Void has no mercy. The Void has no nature. The Void only consumes." He fired a blast of energy at Goku. It was not the normal green energy. It was purple and black. Goku slapped the blast away with the back of his hand. It exploded on a car nearby, melting it into slag. Goku sighed. He said, "Okay, I guess we have to do this the hard way. Jiren, you take the girl. Vegeta, you watch Trunks. Gohan and I will handle the big guy and the boy." Jiren nodded. He stepped forward. He looked at Android 18. She was fast and she had infinite energy. But Jiren was Jiren. He did not need infinite energy. He just needed one punch. 18 flew at him. She tried to punch him in the face. Jiren didn't even blink. The punch hit his cheek and did nothing. It was like hitting a mountain of steel. 18 looked shocked. She pulled her hand back in pain. Jiren looked at her. He said, "Your machine parts are strong, but your spirit is empty." Jiren flicked his finger. The air pressure from the flick hit 18 in the chest. She went flying backward. She crashed into the street and skidded for 3 blocks. Vegeta knelt down next to Trunks. He put his hand on Trunks' shoulder. He poured some of his God Ki into the boy to stabilize him. Trunks looked at Vegeta with wide eyes. He was crying. He said, I tried so hard. But Gohan is gone. They killed him yesterday. I was alone. I didn't know what to do. Vegeta felt a lump in his throat. He saw the pain in his son's eyes. He saw the despair. He wanted to hug him, but he didn't know how. So he just squeezed his shoulder tight. He said, listen to me, Trunks. You are never alone. A Saiyan always finds a way. Gohan is not gone. Look. Vegeta pointed at the sky. Trunks looked up. He saw Gohan floating there. But it wasn't the Gohan he knew. His Gohan had a scar and one arm. This Gohan had 2 arms and no scar, and his hair was silver. He looked like a god. Trunks gasped. He whispered Gohan. Gohan was staring at the pile of rubble where Android 16 had crashed. The rubble began to move. Green light exploded from underneath the rocks. Android 16 stood up. He was not damaged at all. The void energy was repairing him instantly. The black spikes on his armor grew longer. Android 16 looked at Gohan. His red eye scanned him. He said, target identified. Son Gohan. Anomaly. Threat level maximum. Initiate removal protocol. Android 16 opened his chest plates, but instead of the Hell's Flash cannons, there was a swirling vortex of black void energy. He was going to fire a beam that would erase the entire city. Gohan did not move. He felt the anger rising again. This machine was wearing the face of a friend, and it had killed his other self. Gohan remembered the future Gohan. He remembered how he fought with one arm to protect Trunks. He remembered how he died face down in a puddle in the rain. Gohan clenched his fist. The silver aura around him turned jagged and violent. Red sparks of lightning crackled around his body. He said, you are not 16. 16 loved life. He loved the birds. He loved the trees. You are just a garbage can filled with hate. Android 16 fired the beam. It was a massive column of black light. It roared like a demon. Gohan flew straight into the beam. He did not dodge. He did not block. He pushed through it. His beast aura formed a shield around him. The black energy washed over him, but it could not touch him. He flew up the stream of energy like a salmon swimming up a waterfall. He reached Android 16. He grabbed the cannons on 16's chest. He crushed the metal with his bare hands. The beam stopped. 16 looked surprised. Gohan looked him in the eye. Gohan's eyes were burning red. Gohan said, get out of his body. Gohan headbutted 16. The sound was like 2 planets colliding. 16's metal skull cracked. He stumbled backward. Gohan followed him. Gohan punched him in the stomach, then in the face, then in the chest. Each punch was faster than the last. Gohan was unleashing all his frustration. Goku was fighting Android 17. 17 was fast. He was using his barrier to block Goku's attacks. He would put up a green and black shield and then fire blasts from behind it. Goku was testing him. Goku was in his Super Saiyan God form. He was moving around the barrier trying to find an opening. Goku said, come on 17, I know you can hear me. Remember your sister. Remember your love for nature. The void agent inside 17 spoke. It said, silence, monkey. Nature is chaotic. The void is order. We will bring order to this universe by deleting everything. 17 combined 2 energy balls into a giant electric sphere. He threw it at Goku. Goku used instant transmission. He vanished and appeared behind 17. He grabbed 17 in a full Nelson hold. Goku said, I'm sorry about this, but you need a timeout. Goku flared his energy. He turned Super Saiyan blue. The pressure was immense. He squeezed 17. The android's metal frame creaked. Goku wasn't trying to break him. He was trying to overload his sensors. He wanted to force the void energy to surface so they could target it. Jiren was walking toward Android 18. She was firing thousands of energy blasts at him. It looked like a rain of pink lasers. Jiren walked through the fire. The blast hit his chest and bounced off. He didn't even have a scratch. 18 screamed. She shouted, "Why won't you die? I have infinite power." Jiren reached her. He grabbed her by the face. He lifted her off the ground. He said, "Infinite times 0 is still 0. You lack conviction." He threw her into the air. He punched the air in her direction. The shockwave hit her and sent her flying into the upper atmosphere. She crashed into a cloud and fell back down like a broken doll. Back with Gohan and 16. Gohan had ripped off one of 16's arms, but the arm grew back instantly. It was made of black slime. The void energy was regenerating the machine. Gohan realized that physical damage wasn't enough. The agent was hiding in the core. It was fused with the infinite energy reactor of the android. Gohan backed off. He floated in the rain. He took a deep breath. He remembered Whis's lesson on Namek, precision, but this time he needed power too. He needed to overwhelm the reactor. Gohan looked down at Trunks. Trunks was watching him with awe. Gohan smiled a sad smile. He thought, "I'm sorry I couldn't save you in this timeline, but I will save you now." Gohan raised his hand. He pointed his palm at 16. He started to gather destruction energy, but he mixed it with his own life energy. It turned into a deep violet color. Suddenly, Android 16 laughed. The red lights in his eyes started to blink rapidly. He said, "Analysis complete. You hesitate to destroy the host. You are weak. I will use that weakness." 16's chest opened again. But this time, he didn't fire a beam. He pulled out a small capsule. He crushed it. A cloud of nanobots flew out. The nanobots swirled around and flew toward Trunks. Vegeta saw them coming. He jumped in front of Trunks. He fired a blast to burn them, but the nanobots ate the energy. They swarmed over Vegeta. They started to eat his armor. They started to bite his skin. Vegeta roared in pain. These were void nanites. They were designed to eat God Ki. Gohan saw his father struggling. He saw Trunks cowering in fear. He saw the nanites eating Vegeta. Gohan snapped. His silver hair stood up straight. His aura exploded. It wasn't just an aura anymore. It was a storm. A giant beast avatar appeared behind him. It was a massive spectral warrior made of red energy. It had glowing eyes and sharp teeth. Gohan shouted, "Leave them alone." Gohan flew at 16. He moved so fast that time seemed to stop. He punched 16 in the chest. His fist went all the way through the android's body. He grabbed the reactor core in his hand. The void energy tried to eat Gohan's hand. It burned his glove. It burned his skin. But Gohan didn't let go. He poured his Hakai energy directly into the core. He shouted, "Hakai!" The purple energy flooded 16's body. It chased the nanites. It chased the corruption. The nanites on Vegeta stopped moving and turned to dust. The black slime on 17 and 18 evaporated. Android 16 screamed as the void agent was ripped out of his system. The agent was a blob of dark static. Gohan pulled it out of the reactor. He held the agent in his hand. The agent shrieked. It tried to beg for mercy. Gohan crushed it. The agent vanished. Android 16 fell to his knees. The red light in his eyes faded and turned back to a gentle blue. The black spikes on his armor fell off. 17 and 18 fell to the ground too. The purple glow left their eyes. They looked confused. They looked at their hands. They didn't remember being evil monsters. They just remembered darkness. The rain stopped. The clouds broke apart. A single ray of sunlight shone down on the city square. Gohan stood there panting. His hand was burned, but it was healing fast thanks to his God Ki. He looked at Trunks. Trunks stood up. He walked slowly toward Gohan. He looked at this man, who looked like his master but stronger. Trunks said, "Gohan, is it really you?" Gohan powered down. His hair turned back to black. He smiled. He walked over and hugged Trunks. He hugged him tight. He said, "Hey, Trunks. Yeah, it's me. I'm from a different time. But I'm here now. You did good. You survived." Trunks broke down. He started to sob. All the fear and the loneliness of the last few days came pouring out. He cried into Gohan's shoulder. He said, "I missed you so much. I thought I was all alone." Vegeta watched them. He crossed his arms. He looked away to hide the tear in his eye. He was proud of his son. He was proud that he survived hell. Goku walked over. He scratched his head. He said, "Wow, Gohan, that was intense. You really got mad there." Jiren nodded. He said, "Anger can be a weapon if it is controlled. You used it well." Android 16 stood up slowly. He looked at the group. He scanned them. He recognized Goku. He recognized Gohan. 16 said, "Son Goku, Son Gohan, you are alive. My data indicated you were deceased." Goku laughed. He said, "Yeah, we get that a lot. We are from the past. We came to help." 16 looked at his hands. He said, "I feel different. The noise in my head is gone. The voice that told me to kill is gone. I see the birds again." He pointed to a small pigeon that had landed on a piece of rubble. The bird was pecking at the ground. 16 smiled. It was a stiff, robotic smile, but it was genuine. Trunks wiped his eyes. He looked at 16. He remembered that 16 was the one trying to kill him a minute ago. He reached for his broken sword. Gohan put a hand on Trunks' arm. He said, "It's okay, Trunks. It wasn't him. He was controlled, just like Frieza on Namek. The real 16 is a good guy." Trunks hesitated, but he trusted Gohan. He let go of his sword. Chronoa appeared in a flash of light. She looked around at the destroyed city. She looked sad, but relieved. She said, "The timeline is stabilizing. The void influence is gone, but the damage to the city is permanent. I cannot bring back the dead. Future Gohan is still gone." Trunks looked down. He knew that. He knew magic couldn't fix everything, but at least he was alive. At least the androids were free from the corruption. Chronoa looked at 17 and 18. They were sitting on a rock, looking confused. Chronoa said, "Without the void corruption, these two are just normal androids now. In this timeline, they were programmed to be evil by Dr. Jiro. But maybe seeing the void scared them straight." Goku walked over to 17 and 18. He squatted down in front of them. He said, "Hey, you guys want to fight some more? Or are you done?" 17 looked at Goku. He looked at the destruction around them. He looked at 16 watching the bird. 17 sighed. He said, "This is boring. Being a puppet for a shadow monster is not my style. I think I'm done with the whole destroy humanity thing. It's repetitive." 18 rolled her eyes. She said, "I just want some new clothes. This jacket is ruined." Goku laughed. He said, "Well, if you promise to be good, Trunks won't destroy you." "Right, Trunks?" Trunks looked at them. These were the monsters that made his life a living hell. He hated them, but he saw that they were different now. They weren't glowing purple. They weren't laughing maniacally. Trunks took a deep breath. He said, "Fine, but if you try anything, I will stop you." 17 smirked. He said, "Deal." Gohan looked at Trunks. He said, "Trunks, you have a mission. You need to go back to the past, to our time. You need to give Goku the heart medicine. You need to warn us about the androids. That is how we save the future. Trunks nodded. He said, I know. Bulma, my mum is almost done with the time machine. I will leave as soon as it is ready. Vegeta walked up to Trunks. He stood in front of him. He was not much taller than his son. He looked him in the eye. Vegeta said, you have the blood of a prince. Do not forget that. Fight with pride. Never give up. And Vegeta paused. He looked awkward. He put his hand on Trunks' head and ruffled his hair roughly. Vegeta said, take care of your mother. Trunks' eyes went wide. He blushed. He smiled. He said, yes, father, I will. The Grand Priest's voice echoed in their minds. He said, warriors return to the palace. The energy shift caused by the battle has revealed something disturbing. Gohan looked at the sky. He felt it too. A vibration. It was coming from the center of the multiverse. Gohan said, we have to go. Trunks, be strong. We will see you soon. Trunks waved. He watched them step into the golden portal. He watched them vanish. He stood alone in the ruins, but he didn't feel lonely anymore. He felt hope. He looked at the sun shining through the clouds. He clenched his fist. He said, I will save everyone. I promise. Back at the Grand Priest's palace, the atmosphere was tense. The Grand Priest was standing in front of the crystal ball. The other angels were gathered around. When the team arrived, they saw what was on the screen. It was not a timeline. It was a map of the multiverse. There were 12 universes represented by 12 floating orbs. But one of the orbs was blinking red. It was Universe 6. Goku said, Universe 6. That's Champa's universe. That's where Hit and Kaba and Cauliflower are. The Grand Priest nodded. He said yes, but look closer. He zoomed in on the image. Universe 6 was not just blinking, it was leaking. Black liquid was dripping from the bottom of the universe orb. It was leaking into the void between universes. And in the center of Universe 6, on the planet Sadala, the home of the Saiyans, there was a massive tower. A tower made of black bones. Vegeta stepped forward. He shouted, Sadala, Kaba is there. What is happening? The Grand Priest said Kaba has changed his strategy. He failed to erase your history, so now he is trying to erase your counterparts. He has invaded Universe 6. He has built a void tower on Sadala. The tower is acting like a siphon. It is sucking the life energy out of the entire universe to feed Kamba. Beerus slammed his fist on a pillar. He said, Champa, that idiot, why hasn't he stopped it? The Grand Priest said, Lord Champa is missing. We cannot sense his energy. We cannot sense Vados either. A silence fell over the room. If a god of destruction and an angel were missing, that meant something terrible had happened. Goku said, we have to go help them. Hit and the Saiyans can't fight Kamba alone. Gohan looked at the map. He saw the black tower. He felt a chill. This was a direct invasion. It wasn't a stealth mission like the time travel. This was war. Gohan said, we need a plan. If we just rush in, we might get trapped. Kamba wants us to come. It's a trap. Jiren nodded. He said, agreed. But we have no choice. If Universe 6 falls, the balance of the multiverse will tip. Universe 7 will be next. The Grand Priest turned to Gohan. He said, Gohan, you have shown great leadership. You have mastered the calmness of an angel and the destruction of a god. I am placing you in command of this mission. Gohan looked surprised. He said, me, but Dad and Vegeta are. The Grand Priest raised his hand. He said, Goku and Vegeta are powerful warriors, but they are reactive. You are strategic. You see the whole picture. You will lead the rescue mission to Universe 6. Gohan straightened his back. He felt the weight of the responsibility, but he accepted it. He was ready. He looked at his team. Goku, Vegeta, Jiren. He said, "Okay, here is the plan. We are going to split up. Dad, you go find Hit. He is the strongest assassin. If anyone knows where Champa is, it's him. Vegeta, you go to Sadala. Find Kaba and the Saiyans. Defend them from the tower's minions. Jiren, you go to the Namekians of Universe 6. They have potent magic. We need to make sure they are safe." Goku nodded. He said, "Got it." Vegeta cracked his knuckles. He said, "No one touches the Saiyans of Universe 6. I will protect my student." Jiren said, "Understood." Gohan continued. He said, "And I will go to the Void Tower. I will draw Kamba's attention. I will destroy that siphon." Beerus walked up to Gohan. He handed him a small object. It was a Patara earring. Beerus said, "Take this, just in case. If things get too hairy, you might need to fuse. I hate fusion, but I hate losing more." Gohan took the earring. He put it in his pocket. He hoped he wouldn't need it. Whis tapped his staff. He said, "The travel cube is ready, but be warned. The boundaries between Universe 6 and the Void are thin. Kamba will be stronger there. He might be able to manifest a physical avatar." Gohan nodded. He transformed into beast mode. The silver light filled the palace. He said, "Let's go save our sister universe." They boarded the cube. The engines hummed. They shot off into the hyperspace tunnel. As they traveled, Gohan looked at the stars passing by. He thought about Kaba and Caulifla and Kal. He remembered fighting them in the Tournament of Power. They were good people. They didn't deserve this. Vegeta was pacing back and forth. He was worried about Kaba. He had promised to visit Sadala one day. He didn't want his first visit to be a funeral. Goku was eating a rice ball he saved from earlier. He was trying to keep his energy up, but his eyes were serious. He knew that if Champa was gone, then Vados might be in trouble too. And if an angel could be defeated, then Kamba was truly terrifying. Suddenly, the cube shook violently. They exited hyperspace. They were in Universe 6, but it didn't look like space. The stars were dim. A purple fog covered everything. It was cold. They looked down at the planet below them. Planet Sadala. It was surrounded by a ring of black ships. And in the center, rising above the clouds, was the Void Tower. It pulsed like a giant heart. Thump, thump, thump. And with every thump, the planet turned a little bit grayer. The life was being sucked out. Gohan opened the door of the cube. The wind howled. He shouted, "Execute the plan. Go." Goku flew left toward his planet. Jiren flew right toward Namek. Vegeta dove straight down toward the Saiyan capital. Gohan hovered for a second. He looked at the tower. He felt a pair of eyes watching him from the top of the tower. Evil eyes. Gohan flared his aura. He flew straight at the tower. The invasion of Universe 6 had begun. Stay tuned for the next episode. Vegeta's fury on Sadala. The mystery of the missing god.